There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. Moments that break reality as we know it and throw us into an abyss of doubts. For me, that moment happened on the day I buried my husband. Or rather, on the day I thought I had buried him. My name is Helena. I'm 67 years old, and this is the story of how I found out that I lived a lie for 42 years. At my husband's funeral, while everyone was crying silently around me, a young man whom I had never seen in my life approached. He didn't say anything. He just put something in my hand and disappeared among the people. It was a crumpled note. My hands trembled when I opened it. And what I read in that paper changed everything. Don't trust anyone. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Who was Mark? To understand what happened, I need to go back in time. I need to talk about Marcos, my husband, or the man I thought I knew. We met in 1982. I was 25 years old, working in a municipal library. He entered a rainy day, looking for shelter. He asked for a book on navigation. "I'm going to travel the world one day," he said. I smiled. I thought it was just talk. A dreamer. But Marcos never traveled. He never left the city. We got married 6 months later. He got a steady job at an accounting firm. Simple life. Routine. Hold on. We had a son, Rafael. Marcos was a present but distant father. You know that kind of person who is always there, but never completely? He was like that. Quiet. Reserved. He kept everything inside himself. During all these years, I thought I knew him. I knew his habits, the way he drank coffee, how he read the newspaper on Sunday mornings, how he sighed before going to sleep. Little things that build a life together. But now I realize knowing someone's habits doesn't mean knowing the person. We can share a bed with someone for decades and still sleep next to a stranger. The disease. A year and a half ago, Marcos started to lose weight. At first, I thought it was work stress. He had just retired and seemed restless, lost, as if he no longer knew who he was without the job. But the weight loss continued. Abdominal pain appeared, lack of appetite, a persistent cough that wouldn't go away. I insisted that he see a doctor. When it finally was, it was too late. Pancreatic cancer, advanced stage. The doctor told us, in a cold, impersonal room, that he had a maximum of 6 months to live. I remember the silence in the car driving home that day. Marcos looked out the window, motionless. I held the steering wheel tightly, trying not to cry. We don't say anything. What is there to say when death marks a date on the calendar? In the following months, I took care of him. I learned how to administer medication, how to change bandages, how to prepare special meals that he could barely eat. Our house has become a silent hospital. My son Rafael and his wife Carolina visited on weekends. Carolina was attentive, always offering help. "Let me take care of him today, Helena. You need to rest," he said. I accepted, grateful. I never imagined that kindness hid something. 2 months ago, on a Tuesday at dawn, I woke up and Marcos was not breathing. Or at least, that's what it seemed. I panicked. I called Rafael. He arrived fast, too fast, now that I think about it, and he was the one who said, "Mom, he's gone." I didn't question it. I was in shock. When we lose someone, the pain makes us blind. We become vulnerable. We believe anything we're told just so we don't have to face reality alone. The distrust, the hasty funeral. The funeral was scheduled for 2 days later. Fast. Too fast. I barely had time to process. Helena took over all the preparations. "Leave it to me, Helena. You don't have to worry about anything," she said. At the time, I thought it was kindness. Today, I see that it was control. She chose the coffin, closed. He said it was better this way, that I didn't need to see Marcos like that. He organized everything in a funeral home that I had never heard of. The wake was on a Wednesday. Few people attended. Marcos was a discreet man. He had few friends. But even so, it seemed to me empty, desert. I was sitting in the front row looking at that sealed coffin when the boy appeared. He must not have been more than 20-something. Dark hair, nervous look. It came straight to me. He didn't say a word. He just put the note in my hand, squeezed my fingers for a second, as if begging me to read it, and left quickly. So fast that by the time I looked around to find him, he was already gone. I opened the paper discreetly. The handwriting was unmistakable. I would recognize it anywhere. It was Marcos's, that slanted letter, the specific way he made the lowercase v. But the words froze me. "Don't trust anyone. I'm still alive." My heart raced. I looked around. Raphael was on the other side of the room, talking to distant relatives. Helena by his side, in black with a gloomy expression. No one seemed to have noticed the boy. I thought I was going crazy. Pain can do this to us. It makes us see things, believe in impossibilities. But that calligraphy, I was absolutely sure. I folded the note and kept it in my pocket. I didn't say anything to anyone. Something told me to keep quiet, to observe. The night of discovery. That night, alone at home, I couldn't sleep. I kept looking at the note, trying to understand. Was Marcos alive? How? Why? Nothing made sense. At 3 a.m, I got up. I went to his room. Since he got sick, we slept in separate rooms. He said that I was supposed to rest better. Now I wonder if I wasn't supposed to discover anything. I turned on the light. The room was exactly as he left it, or almost. I started looking. I wasn't sure what, but I needed to find something, anything. I opened the drawer of the bedside table where he always kept important documents. Empty. Completely empty. No documents, no prescription, no hospital wristband, nothing. I went to the closet. His clothes were still there, but I noticed something. His favorite clothes, the ones he always wore, were gone. The brown leather jacket he loved, the boots, the old travel backpack. My stomach turned. I started shaking. I sat on his bed and cried. Not sadness, of anger, of confusion, of fear. The next day, I called the clinic where Marcos was supposedly undergoing treatment. The number that was on the paper did not work. I tried looking online. The clinic simply did not exist, or never existed. I called Rafael. "Son, what was the name of that doctor of your father's?" Silence on the other side. "Mom, why do you want to know that?" His voice was strange, defensive. "I just want to send a message of thanks," I lied. "Oh, I don't remember the name now. I need to go, Mom. We'll talk later." He hung up quickly. I had never hung up on my face before. The confrontation. 3 days after the funeral, I went to Raphael's house. He needed answers. It didn't matter how much it hurt. Carolina opened the door. His smile seemed fake, forced. Helena, what a surprise! Come in! But his body was blocking the entrance, as if he didn't really want me to enter. I need to talk to Raphael, he said. Is he? It's working. Can I help with something? I looked her in the eyes. There was something there, something cold. Why was the funeral so fast, Carolina? Why was the coffin sealed? Why didn't anyone let me see my husband for the last time? She blinked. For a split second, I saw nervousness. Helena, we just wanted to spare you. Marcos was not, well, it was better this way. And why doesn't the clinic exist anymore? Why did the documents disappear? Why? Enough! His voice cut through the air. You are in mourning, Helena. He is not thinking straight. He should rest. She closed the door in my face. I stood there, standing in front of my own son's house, feeling like I had become a stranger to my own family. That night, I received a message from an unknown number. No profile picture, text only. He's alive, but if you keep looking, you'll disappear too. The revelation. The solitary investigation. That message should have scared me. It should have made me stop. But he did the opposite. It gave me certainty. Certainty that Marcos was alive. And sure, my own son was involved. I started investigating on my own. At the age of 67, I learned to use internet tools that I never imagined I needed. I looked for records of airline tickets, bank transactions, anything. I found out that 3 weeks before Marcos' supposed death, Raphael had made a large bank transfer, very big, to an account I didn't recognize. I went to the bank. I asked for old statements of the joint accounts I had with Marcos. The employee hesitated. Madam, those accounts were closed 2 months ago. What do you mean closed? By whom? For your son. He had power of attorney. I felt the ground disappear from under my feet. Did Raphael have power of attorney? Since when? I came home stunned. I went through old papers. I found a document that Marcos had asked me to sign a year ago. He said it was to make things easier in case he needed urgent medical care. I signed without reading it. I trusted. That document was not a medical authorization. It was a complete power of attorney. Raphael had access to everything. And I, naive, had signed my own ruin. I spent weeks living in silent paranoia. I couldn't talk to anyone. Who would believe me? A 67-year-old widow saying that her husband faked his own death? Until one Saturday morning, the mail arrived. A letter. No sender, just my handwritten address. In that handwriting, the full truth. My hands were shaking when I opened the envelope. Inside, there was a single photograph, an old, faded Polaroid. It was Marcos, alive, smiling, next to Carolina, my daughter-in-law. They were on a beach. The sun was shining. He had his arm around her, and she was pregnant. I fell sitting. The photo slipped from my fingers. It all started to make sense. Carolina's excessive attention, the constant visits, the way she was always alone with Marcos when I went out shopping. I became the photograph. On the back it read, "Sorry, wasn't the right word, but you deserve to know the truth. I sat there on the living room floor, holding that photo and let everything come to light. Marcos has never had cancer. The disease was invented. The doctors false. Weight loss on purpose. All staged. They planned every detail. Marcos and Carolina got involved. I don't know when, maybe years ago. And when they decided to run away together to create a new life, they needed money. Of my money. Of our economies. Raphael knew? This is the question that torments me the most. Did my son know that his father was betraying his family? Cheating on me? Planning to disappear? Or was he deceived too? I called Raphael that night. He answered on the 5th ring. Mother, his voice was tired. I know everything, he said. Silence. Did you know? More silence. So, Mom, it was better that way, for everyone. Better? Better? I screamed. I can't remember the last time I screamed. Your father faked his own death. He stole me, and you helped. Carolina is pregnant, Mom, 4 months, and it's not my son. My breathing stopped. The baby belongs to the father, and I couldn't do anything. She said she would leave me if I told her that he would take everything. I'd rather lose my dad than lose more than I've ever lost. I hung up the phone, not out of anger, out of compassion. My son was also a victim. We all were.
Redemption, the healing process. In the months that followed, I didn't try to find them. I didn't report it. I did not seek revenge. It may seem strange, but I needed peace, not justice. I learned that some battles are not worth it, that some people don't deserve our time, even when it's the people we love. I went to therapy. I began to rebuild my life. I sold the house where we lived for so many years. Each room held memories that I now knew were lies. I couldn't stay there anymore. I moved to a small apartment in the center. I started working part-time in a bookstore. Ironic, isn't it? I went back to where it all began, for the books, to the place where I met Marcos on that rainy day. Raphael tried to talk to me a few times. Messages, links. I didn't answer for months. Until one day, 6 months later, I answered. He cried. He asked for forgiveness. He said he was in therapy too, that he had divorced Carolina soon after he learned of the pregnancy, that he was trying to rebuild his life. I didn't forgive immediately. Forgiveness takes time. But I opened the door because he was also a victim, and because, in the end, he was my son. And blood, no matter how stained it is still blood.
Final reflection. Today, a year and a half later, I still think about that note. I'm still alive. Mark is alive somewhere, with Carolina, with their son, building the life he always wanted. The traveler's life I dreamed of when I was young. And you know what's most painful? It is not betrayal. It's not the stolen money. It's realizing that I was never enough.
that 42 years together meant nothing to him, that I was just an obstacle between him and the life he really wanted. But I learned something valuable. We can share a life with someone and still be completely alone. We can know a person's habits, quirks, preferences, and still not know their soul. Love, I discovered, is no guarantee of truth. It is not a shield against lies. It does not protect from abandonment. Love is vulnerability, and vulnerability can be exploited. If there's one lesson I can share, it's this: never trust blindly, not even in the people who share the pillow, because the human being is a mystery, and some mysteries are too dark to be unraveled without consequences. Marcos is still alive, somewhere. But for me, he died at that funeral. Not the man, but the image I had of him. And this mourning, the mourning of an illusion, is the most difficult of all. Because when someone dies, we can keep them in our memory with affection. But when someone betrays us and disappears, they become ghosts. Ghosts that haunt not with his presence, but with his absence, with the weight of the lies they left behind. Today, at 68, I'm starting over. I'm learning to trust again, little by little, carefully. But I also learned to trust myself, listening to my intuition, questioning, not to accept easy answers. And when I look in the mirror now, I see a different woman, stronger, more skeptical, sadder perhaps, but also freer. Free from illusion, free from the comfortable lie that was my marriage. So if you're listening to me right now, keep this. Never rely on silence behind a smile, because sometimes this silence hides a scream, a cry of betrayal that will only be heard when it is too late. This was my story, Helena's story, the woman who buried an empty coffin and discovered that true grief begins when the truth comes out.
See you soon. Thanks for watching.